So big hearty hello and welcome from Nicholas D. Castella at the Australian Breathwork College for our self and co-regulation breathwork workshop. I'm delighted to have you with us, whether you're in person or listening to the recording. I think that you're really going to enjoy this. This is really exploring the heart of our heart-centered breathwork approach. So you'll get a lot from this. Um, we're going to actually do a heart centering as we're going through the session, so you get a taste of the pudding. Um, O'Brien, my assistant, is here, and my beautiful wife Susan. And O'Brien came up with this description that's better than mine about self and co-regulation, and that is that it's all about feeling great and helping each other feel awesome too. Basically, how to be a super loving and healing buddy to yourself and your pals. So that says it all, really. So this is for anyone who wants to be more peaceful, loving, healing, presence for yourself and for others. And it's really the secret ingredient to help you to be the best mom, dad, partner, brother, sister, friend. And it's great if you want to be successful in life because connecting with yourself and connecting with other people and being able to manage stress is a key in terms of being happy and successful in life. And this self and co-regulation session is an essential ability for all healers and coaches and people working in well-being. So universally applicable. This session tonight is also an introduction and orientation for our next intake for the core clearing breathwork training, which is in a couple of weeks' time. So, love to have you with that if you're interested in that. So, just a little bit about me. My passion, my purpose is to help awaken a new heart connected humanity. And I've been a full-time breathwork practitioner for over 30 years. I'll show you a bit about that in a sec. And really, with my wife Susan, we've created our dream life with breathwork. And so I'm here to show you that it's absolutely possible and probable that if you commit, you can build a dream life, being of service to people, helping them heal and grow, because I've done it. And here's my beautiful wife, Susan, and I. We've been together 25 years married last Wednesday night, and just both share a passion for breathwork and personal growth and being at our best and being fit and healthy. Together, we brought in two fabulous young sons, Charlie and Alex, into the world, and they are quite remarkable young men in their own right. And really, my purpose is to help awaken the hearts in the community, but really to help people to connect from their head to their heart, to come back into relationship. This is me at the Australasian Integrative Medical Association's national conference a few years ago. And so we run professional trainings. Our work is taken highly seriously by medical doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. We have a lot of really fully committed health practitioners doing our trainings and coming to our events as well. So I've traveled around the world teaching breathwork. I've spent 33 years full time as a breathwork practitioner. So 1992, 34 years now, getting on there. I switched from working as an architect to working in rebirthing back then in those days. And in the early 2000s, I actually was the one that initiated the name change from rebirthing to breathwork at the Australian Rebirthing Association, that's now become the Australian Breathwork Association. And so in that time, I've run 26 years of professional breathwork practitioner trainings. The first training was in 1999, and we run residential programs. We have 7 acres of rainforest in the Dandenong Ranges on the outskirts of Melbourne. And over those years, I've run over 400 3.5 day residential retreats. So there's a younger me right there. And our workshops are all fairly small scale. We like to connect with people, get to know them really well, and journey together. So maybe down the track, you might like to come and visit us and stay with us, and we'll guide you through a retreat. Thanks to the COVID lockdown a few years ago now, um, we've our work got pushed out online and around the world. So about 15 years ago, I was working as a master coach for a friend of mine who was training life coaches, and up until that point, I've been getting people to lie down on the floor and do breath work. And over the years of talking to them on the phone before the internet 15 years ago, I developed a technique for helping them to identify and clear the subconscious emotional blocks using the breath in a sitting up form. So this core clearing process evolved out of that couple of years of life coaching with people to help them identify and clear the subconscious emotional blocks that were holding them back. And now we have people all around the world that have done our training, New Zealand, South Africa, Czechoslovakia, Estonia, Ireland, England, America, Canada. So we have a beautiful global heart center community that's evolving and growing. And the community part is really important to me. This is not just a training that we do, it's actually a community of connection because I believe that we're not meant to do things in isolation, and it's so much easier when we've got people that we can connect with and support. And we have seven beautiful master coaches in our that head up our community development, and they are readily available and accessible and just there to help everybody heal and grow and support everyone to become a professional breathwork practitioner. So, as I said, this session is an introduction also to our next training. And if you want to go on further from this, then you have three options. Actually, I added one in just before the thing and forgot to change the two to three. There's a Jumpstart $200 module, which a few people here have already done and found it life-changing in itself. And you can access that for $200, sorry. And then if you want to go on and do an introduction clarity session, then you have the opportunity to do that with me towards the end of the session. So let's focus in on co-regulation for a second. So co-regulation is our capacity to help others feel calm, safe, and connected in our company. Right? So we all know that we pick up on the vibration of the people that we're around. And when we're co-regulating, we're holding that loving, healing space for others to relax into their bodies and to be able to feel safe enough to allow what they feel to come to the surface. And the interesting thing is that if you look in nature, this co-regulation principle applies. If you have like a herd of horses and one horse gets spooked, unsettled, the others will gather around it and actually bring that horse back into a state of calm and ease, or what we call regulated. So the fascinating principle that's demonstrated in that is the individual gives to the herd and the herd gives to the individual. I think that's a beautiful model for a loving, supportive community then. So each of the people in our community give to the community, and the community then gives to each of the individuals in the community. So basically, co-regulation then helps us to switch from fight and flight, freeze or fawn, which is all sympathetic nervous system activation, the red light, into a state of relaxation, connection, and trust, which is parasympathetic. So this really matters. Co-regulation, connecting and supporting others really is so important because often when we go through a traumatic event, we usually feel some aspect of being alone. So if you just think back to childhood and the traumatic events that you went through, there's a high chance that you were alone in those events. And so that, to a large extent, is what causes an event to become traumatic, right? So being alone is the opposite of co-regulation. So co-regulation is vital because after we go through a traumatic event, that often leads to feelings of isolation. And then being on our own, we become hypervigilant. So often we kind of live our life on guard, ready for the next thing to happen, with a lot of our attention outside of our body, scanning the environment all the time, right? And so co-regulation is about it's okay, you can relax, you're safe, I'm here with you, right? Um, so that unresolved trauma leaves us in this state of sympathetic nervous system activation. So even though the event has completed itself, often a part of us gets stuck in that trauma and our nervous system stays a little bit switched on in sympathetic hypervigilance, which is normally it's supposed to come on and then go off again after the danger has passed. But often we live in that sympathetic nervous system activation because the trauma hasn't been integrated and completed. So when we connect with other people, one of the things that happens is the hormone oxytocin, which is often called the love hormone or the bonding hormone, is released, and that helps people to feel safe enough to relax and heal and grow. Right? So if you have a pet, a cat or a dog or a horse, and you're holding that animal, what's going to be happening is that oxytocin is going to be released in your body, and you feel bonded and close to that animal, and that helps you to relax then, right? So oxytocin and adrenaline, pretty much opposite hormones. Adrenaline, fight or flight, and oxytocin, relax and digest. So um, one of the key principles in co-regulating is understanding entrainment, right? So entrainment is about how we can affect other people in our vicinity. The starting place to understand that is to understand that emotions are different to thoughts. Thoughts are in our brain, emotions are in our body. Thoughts are just electrical impulses going across synapses. Emotions are an energy that create an electromagnetic field that we can feel. So when somebody comes into a room and they're angry or they're scared or they're sad, often we can actually feel it in our body because what's happening is the emotion is causing an electromagnetic field that then can be felt by us, but also it affects other people. Now, this idea of entrainment was identified when a group of scientists were studying the parts of a brain that a monkey uses when he's eating. And they were doing these experiments. They had the diodes on the monkey's skull, and they stopped for lunch. And while they were eating lunch, the monkey was in the cage and he was watching the scientists eat the lunch. And one of the scientists noticed that the parts of the monkey's brain that fires off when the monkey's eating was actually firing off watching the scientists eat. And so the monkey was going into entrainment with the scientists, right? Even though obviously he wasn't having any lunch. And so, um, what we've got to understand in this is that when it comes to working with emotions and relating to other people emotionally, is that we have a certain vibration and they have a certain vibration as well. And those overlapping fields of vibration then affect each other, right? So, this is a really important distinction when you're doing a lot of emotional healing work because sometimes people have the idea that they've taken on other people's emotions. And I have a point of difference on that, in that what I believe, if we're working with someone that's in a very intense emotional state and we start feeling emotional, it's not because we've taken their emotion on, it's because we've become activated in our emotional trauma by the entrainment of the vibration. I'm sure that we've all had the experience of our friend or a partner or a child who was angry, and then we've become angry pretty shortly after that, right? So when we do that, we've been entrained by the other person's anger, right? So we've gone into entrainment with their state. We haven't taken on their anger. Instead, we've got activated or triggered, or their emotion has touched us. And if you're an empath, then that means you're highly sensitive to feeling that vibration of your own energy, but also of other people's energy, right? And that's what empathy is. It's a capacity to feel that vibration, that frequency of emotion. So different emotions vibrate at different rates. So sadness vibrates very slowly, and fear vibrates very fast, right? And so we can actually feel that energy field in our body when we're tuned into it and sensitive. That's good and bad. It's bad because if you don't understand emotional intelligence, you're probably going to end up feeling very anxious and a bit thrown around by what's going on around you and not knowing why. But it's a superpower when you understand empathy and you can tune in to what other people are feeling and without taking it on, but being able to respond and relate to them where they're at. And I'll talk more about that in a sec. So I'm not sure if you've seen ever an experiment where they get a tuning fork and they hit it and they get it to resonate, and then they bring another tuning fork near it, and the second tuning fork starts to resonate with the same frequency as the first one. And if you take the first one away, the second tuning fork still resonates with that same frequency. So the second tuning fork has gone into entrainment with the first one, right? So it's picked up on the vibration and it's vibrating now itself. So the question in relationships is always who's entraining who, right? You see, if someone around us is angry, are we going to be entrained into their anger, or are we going to be peaceful and bring them from their angry state into a peaceful state, right? And I often think of, the Australian Open in the tennis. You watch Nadal and Federer playing tennis, and both probably like equally fit, equally skilled, but over the course of the matches, the confidence factor would flow and ebb. And I think the person who wins is the one who's most connected to being the one who's in training, winning into their state in that time. So we can positively entrain others by remaining relaxed and peaceful and loving in their presence. And obviously, that's what we all want to do. We want to be a healing, loving presence in the world. And the way that we do that is we cultivate self-regulation, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So, so we need to learn to self-regulate before we can co-regulate. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to self-regulate. And then we're going to do a self-regulation practice in a moment as well, right? But the first step is we have to be a calm, healing presence in ourselves and then be able to be strong enough in that state to stay in that and then entrain others into our state rather than being pulled into their state. So, so the goal is to be a stronger calming influence by practicing self-regulation first. Now, this is a new piece that I've just added in here. I call it the range of emotion, but it's linked into self-regulation and what's known as a window of tolerance. And basically, each of us have a range of emotional intensity that we're comfortable experiencing. When that range goes out of our comfort zone, we start to get uncomfortable. And on the upper level of the emotional intensity, we can become hyper aroused or overstimulated or emotionally flooded. So that is the sympathetic nervous system on overactivation in fight or flight or freeze or fawn. And we start to feel anxious, reactive, and panicky. And if that keeps on going, then we go numb, blank, confused, have difficulty thinking, difficulty concentrating, and difficulty learning. Right? So that's an over-aroused state that a lot of us live in. And then on the other end of the spectrum is a hypo-aroused, understimulated, like bored, no emotion, apathy, lethargy, disconnected, zoned out, no learning going on there. right? So most children have a much bigger emotional range than adults do. So as a child, we go from joyously ecstatic to miserable and back again in less than a minute. But as adults, we've been trained to be seen and not heard. Don't answer back. Don't say anything if it's not positive. And we just trained all the time to push emotions down and hold them in our body. And so the range of emotions that we're comfortable as adults gets compressed. Right? Now that emotional range is really important because it's about how open to life you can be and how much challenge you can take on without getting overwhelmed by it. Right? So in the middle between those two states, there's an optimal level of arousal where we're in a state of presence, we're open, we're safe, we're engaged in our life. And in the polyvagal theory, this is called central vagal. It's a calm, responsive nervous system state where we feel connected, engaging socially, we're thinking clearly, we have a curious mind, and we're open for learning. Right? And obviously, the goal is to gradually increase our capacity, our ability to stay relaxed and open in emotional intensity by developing the skills and the confidence to process emotions as they arise in everyday life so we can become less reactive, more responsive, take on bigger challenges, and be more engaged in living our lives. Right? So, as you develop the skills, the emotional intelligence and the breathwork skills, you can actually process the emotion that's getting activated as you go through your day, and that allows you to play the game at a bigger level. People like Elon Musk, can spend $1 million on a rocket that blows up, and kind of not be wiped out by that, but actually kind of go, yep, that was interesting. And so they say that successful people, the big players in the world, have that capacity to contain uh, bigger range of emotional extremes. And as we grow, we get better at staying relaxed and open in increasing levels of emotional intensity. So that could be increasing levels of pain, increasing levels of sadness, increasing levels of joy, increasing levels of love, increasing levels of happiness, right? So there's a threshold for us of what we're comfortable with. And when we go outside those thresholds, we'll usually do something to bring ourselves back to where we're comfortable, right? Now, and haven't this is new this tonight, so nobody's seen this before. And Melanie Isles is one of our master coaches. When she met us, she she had complex post-traumatic stress disorder. She has a nerve condition where she kind of shuts down and locks up. She was like very, very sensitive to being emotionally flooded. And she came into a 5-day breathwork challenge that you get the 5 breathing practices that she did in the challenge the year before last in December, maybe nearly 2 years ago now. She started on these 1 minute breathing practices and she got more and more confident with being able to regulate her own emotions. And then she did the core clearing training last year, I think. And she's just gone from strength to strength. She just came to a workshop, a 1 day workshop at the end of last year that we ran, and we did some very dynamic breath work, and she did a full-on anger release session and she just loved it. Whereas at the start there was no way. She said she couldn't sit with herself, she couldn't close her eyes. Now I'm not sure if this sound is going to come through, so I'll play it anyway and you can let me know. Hopefully it does.
I remember when I first came on, and Nicholas will tell you this, I was very,
Just let me know. Can you hear that in the chat? Loud and clear. Awesome. Okay, well, I'll go here.
I remember when I first came on, and Nicholas will tell you this, I was very, very afraid of doing breathwork because I was very worried about being traumatized, being diagnosed with a very severe form of CPTSD that could not be medicated. It did not work for me at all. And I was terrified. What I learned in breathwork was that it was the complete and other opposite to that. In fact, it became the only thing that I could sit with emotion with and allow myself to heal. It transformed my life completely. And how do you ever say thank you to somebody who gave you back your life?
Yeah. So she's a great example of somebody that's increased her emotional capacity, the window of tolerance to be able to integrate emotions in her everyday life using the breathwork practices that we teach. Oh, there we go. So how we do this is there's three steps to it. The first step is raising self-awareness, right? So we need to develop emotional intelligence to be able to recognize what we're feeling, to understand why we're feeling it, and then to be able to manage our emotions so that we can choose how we want to respond rather than just reacting unconsciously. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah. You'll get to meet Melanie. She's just such a beautiful essence, and she's just there in the master coach group to support everybody in the training, and she just gives and gives. She's beautiful. The second step is then learning how to be a loving presence, right? How to be present, how to bring your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions all online at the same time. And then the third piece is how to activate what's known as heart coherence, how to create a field of love by centering yourself in your heart. Now, this is the three main pieces of module one in the core clearing training, the emotional mastery book. The head to heart audio is a 1 hour audio teaching, and then we have a 5, 10, and 20-minute heart centering meditation that we have people in our community been doing the 20-minute every day for 20 years, actually. So it can become a part of your life, a go-to place. So I want to talk a little bit about co-regulation then. How do we become that loving presence, healing for others, right? Twice a day for Dan, and it shows. Fantastic. Yeah. The first thing that we do when we're co-regulating is we be present as love. Now, most of us think that love is a doing word and don't understand that love is about the quality of our presence. So, love is not about fixing the other person or rescuing them. Instead, it's about holding an unconditional, open-hearted space of non-reactivity. The Buddhists call it remaining like a log, right? And if you're a parent practicing presence as love, it's very hard not to kind of jump in and want to help them take their pain away. It's very, very hard. And to be able to just be present as love and allow what wants to unfold, right? So sometimes part of this conscious loving or tough love, we call it, is about conscious suffering, right? So sitting in the presence of someone who's going through a challenging moment or emotion or experience and not jumping in to rescue them or shut them down or shift what they're feeling, it can bring up a lot of discomfort in ourself. And so we need to practice this remaining like a log in ourselves. And the Buddhists call that the Tonglen practice or the non-reactive, and learning to breathe the suffering in and then breathe out love. Just towards the end of last year, my mentor, who taught me my first breathwork training in 1988, passed away, and I went up to Brisbane for 3 of his last 4 days. And the first day he was 75% present, and I had a short one sentence chat with him, not really a chat, just, but the second day I came in, and it's clear he was in a lot of pain, and he was breathing very shallow, and I could see tension and feel it in his body. And so I just guided him a little bit on how to relax his breath. I had worked with him a lot before, so he knew me and trusted me. And but I just guided his breath and I got him to welcome the pain in. Instead of pushing it to try to get rid of it, we relax when we welcome it in. So he started deepening his breath and softening his breath. And that the night before I came, he woken up on the hour, every hour, 7 hours, and his wife as well. And that night, he slept the whole night through, 7 hours straight sleep. He had half the pain medication in the next 24 hours. And so did his wife. Got a good sleep as well. When I came in on the third day, he had his hand on his heart and he was just breathing very gently and softly with his eyes closed. He was only 25% there, but he was conscious enough to know what he was doing. And he was breathing into his heart. I could tell. I knew what was going on. And it was really quite amazing experience to be part of. He had two daughters in their 30s as well, and there were the what's that? Five of us in the room together for the 3 days, and yeah, it was such a beautiful experience, and just profoundly deepening connection. And I was doing co-regulation with him. So I was sitting there all day, just breathing his pain into my heart and just breathing out love, just breathing it in and breathing out love. And wow, it really shifted me, shifted him. But I came home really connected deeply into my heart, and it's quite the opposite of what I expected, going to see somebody to die the last couple of days, and he died the day after I left, which was the whole thing was so perfect. I can't explain. It would take me a bit longer, but yeah, it was so perfect the way that it all happened, and it was an amazing experience of co-regulating with him, helping him to die, to pass at peace. It was just such a gift for me to experience that. So the next piece, the second piece in co-regulating with others is maintaining what we call in the therapy circles unconditional positive regard. So unconditional positive regard is choosing to see the best in others all the time and believing in what we call basic goodness, right? Believing that people are ultimately good and they're doing their best all of the time, even when they're acting really badly, really contracted, really hurtfully. That's the best in that moment that they can do. They can do better in the future, as we all can, right? But unconditional positive regard, when we're holding space, a loving space for others, we're choosing to look through the surface into their soul and feel in there that at the core of who they are is love and goodness, right? And so we just constantly choosing to see the best in others. And what I know is that people, strangely enough, tend to live up or live down to the way that I see them. And so when we're doing unconditional positive regard, we're choosing to see the best in others, and that's likely to bring the best out in them as well. Right. And I learned that being a dad, I had two boys, just constantly choosing to see the best in them, especially when it was challenging. The third step then in co-regulating, holding a loving space for others is being trauma informed, right? And that's a bit of a buzzword these days. Trauma this, trauma that. So what does it actually mean? It actually means trauma informed means being aware of how trauma affects individuals, right? So what effect does going through trauma have on people? And two of the things, the big things, the effects that has is one is they get emotionally overwhelmed and flooded very easily, like Melanie said before, so she'd gone through hell and back in her childhood. And so when situations were in flux, in challenge, it's easy for her to get emotionally overwhelmed. And so when we're doing breath work with people, it's really important to be sensitive to not overwhelming people and not flooding them. And so our heart-centered approach is so super powerful in this way because it's very, very gentle. There is no pushing, there's no forcing anything, there's no trying to get anywhere or make anything happen. And what that does is it creates an open space that allows for healing and transformation to come through. And so in the therapy circles, we talk about titration. So we titrate emotional trauma by kind of watering it down, by diluting it so that it's less intensive. And the way that we do that, when people are going through very intense emotions, we actually slow the breath down, make it more gentle and breathing less air and softening into it. And what that does is it lowers the emotional intensity so that it comes back within that range of tolerance that we talked about before. When it's within the range of tolerance, they can stay relaxed and open to the emotion in their body, and that allows it to process through. But when they get emotionally flooded, they go into overwhelm, they start locking down, and that kind of breath work can become traumatic in itself. So it re-traumatizes the trauma and adds to it, right? And so slowly is holy. And the irony is that the gentle approach to breathwork that we use is actually the fastest way to get through it because the pushing breath creates resistance. And so the gentle approach, there's no defense against that. And our breathwork style is like a rose blossoming. It's just gentle, being present, holding that space, helping them to feel and soften and open and open and open and open. And there's no end to that opening. And then the second major effect that trauma has on people is that they lose their capacity to set their boundaries. They lose their ability to speak up for themselves, right? And they feel disempowered. And so these days, if you go to the dentist, or I was at the skin clinic today and the doctor was really trauma informed and he said, okay, I'm going to give you a little injection now. It's going to be a little of a sting. And then how are you going? Is that okay? He's cutting this little mole off. He's, how he's checking in to see how I am. And because people who've gone through a lot of trauma often don't have a capacity to say, no, stop, it's too much. I don't want to do this. I need a rest or a break or something like that. And so being trauma informed is about all the time getting consent from our clients and or our friends or our family, like tuning in to where they're at and listening to what they've got to say instead of just charging ahead. The fourth part of co-regulation, then, and a big piece that we teach in our trainings is um, emotional validation, right? So, emotional validation means acknowledging, making real, um, um, honoring the experience that people are having. So most of us have grown up in a climate of invalidation, of shaming, of when you were sad, people tell you, just cheer up, get over it. It's no big deal. A lot of people have it worse than you. All these things that are invalidating the emotional state. In when we're co-regulating with people, we're not fixing them, we're not giving them advice, we're not saving them. Instead, we're validating them. And that goes, I can see that you're upset. I see that you're sad. I can see that you're angry. All right. And then empathizing with them. So there's skills to be able to do that, to hold that loving space. Being understanding is part of that too. I can see that you're sad. I understand why you're sad. Right. And then breathing that into our heart and just holding that space, allowing them to process through that and to feel safe. Now, you can't emotionally validate other people if you don't emotionally validate yourself, right? So the place to start is self-validation, right? And so we need to do our own emotional healing work ourselves so we're okay in our own body with the emotional intensity that we feel. And the more okay we are with our own emotional intensity, interestingly enough, the more okay we are with other people's emotional intensity, and the greater our capacity to hold that loving space of open-heartedness when our clients, family, friends are going through emotionally intense times. Right? So those are the four keys to co-regulation. Here's just a few things that can get in the way of co-regulating or holding that loving space. The first one is thinking instead of feeling, Right? So often what we do when we're in an uncomfortable situation is we go in our head, and in a healing situation, we can kind of go, what am I supposed to be doing here? And try to think up some kind of a strategy. Now, the problem with that, as soon as we go into our head and start thinking, we go out of relationship with the other person and we go into this abstract cerebral world, not of feeling. And so the first thing that we need to do when we're co-regulating with people is, if we notice that happening, is take a breath in ourselves and come back and just tune in. What am I actually feeling here? And just give space for whatever is unfolding to unfold. The second block to co-regulating is getting triggered ourselves. All right. So you think you're upset. You should have seen my day. What you're going through is nothing. Or, I've had enough of this. And so actually getting triggered ourselves and becoming reactive because we have got a whole lot of emotional baggage that we're carrying around. And this is why a big part of our training is the personal growth part. We need to do our own healing work so that we can clear our own trauma, so that we're less easily triggered and we have this greater capacity to keep our heart open in intensity. The third block to co-regulating is getting compassion fatigue, overgiving and ending up drained. So if you're an empath, you're probably good at caring for everybody else, and it's so easy to forget about yourself in that picture and then feel like you're giving from an empty well. You're giving sand instead of water. And so it's really important for us when we're working in a healing setting or being the best mum or dad or whatever, that we understand that nurturing ourselves is probably the best thing we can do for everyone else around us, right? Like on the airlines, you put your own oxygen mask on first before you worry about your children. And so, really important for us always to do our own breath work, to get our own massage, to do our whatever it is that lights us up, surfing, running, walking in nature, so that we come to sessions and to our friends and family giving from a full cup, from, in fact, from a place of overflow. The fourth block to co-regulating is judging ourselves or others. As soon as we judge something, which means make it bad or wrong, we suddenly put a block there. We block in the flow of love, right? So just think for a moment, somebody that you judge, Donald Trump or some political figure or whatever, and you'll notice you feel cold towards them. You feel very distant from them. If you anything at all, things in yourself that you have shame about or guilt about, that you judge, suddenly you feel disconnected from yourself in that part, right? And so we've got to learn not to judge other people, not to judge ourselves. Even if you're holding space for somebody and you start judging yourself about, I don't think I'm doing a very good job here, I'm doing this wrong, that becomes a problem. Whereas, just breathing into what's underneath that is the way to go through that. So let's say underneath, I think that I'm doing this wrong or I'm not doing enough to help them, is probably, if I breathe into it, chances are there's a fear there, a fear of letting them down or something like that, right? So we would go under the judgment and just stay present to whatever's coming up in us in response to what's coming up in them, right? And what they're sharing. And then the fifth and final block to co-regulation is projecting our reality onto them. Is a big mistake that we often do is we assume that other people are just like us, and in some ways they are, but the actual story of their life is totally different from ours. The reality that other people live in, totally different. Other people's skill sets, other people's capacity to cope, totally different from ours. And I always think about, hearing people who live in squats, in houses where there's no electricity, there's no water, sometimes there's no windows and no doors, and they're in there with a whole lot of people they don't even really know. And I couldn't imagine myself doing that. I would not cope. Um, and because I don't have the skills to be able to do that, I don't have the resources to be able to cope with that kind of a situation. And so it's easy for me to put myself in their situation and then project onto them. Whereas in fact, at some level, they have the capacity to cope with that. It might not be their ideal situation and that, but at some level, they've let themselves get to that place and into that situation because they have the skill set and capacity to cope with it, right? So it's a real mistake to put ourselves in other people's shoes and project our reality onto them. And it's much better to be curious and open to exploring what's that world like for them? How are they coping? What's going on for them? And just, in our relating, in our holding space for them, we're learning, we're curious, we're in I don't know rather than I know. Okay, so that's the co-regulation. Let's talk a little bit about the science of self-regulation, right? So in self-regulation, the major player is what's known as heart coherence, right? And that's about bringing our heart online in a state of harmony and balance, right? Now, there's actually scientific equipment that demonstrates the level of heart coherence. They can actually measure that and give you a readout on how coherently your heart is actually functioning. And the output on these machines looks something like this. And when people are in a state of incoherence, random scattered stress, they're out of balance with their autonomic nervous system. This is the kind of readout in the start here. It's irregular and scatty. And then when people activate heart coherence, which is their ultimate state for self-regulation, for then co-regulation, then you get a whole different readout on the chart, right? So what we're measuring for heart coherence is what's known as heart rate variability. Your heart rate variability is how much your heartbeat is speeding up and slowing down from beat to beat. Now, that change is a measure of the balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? So, heart coherence is really a measure of your vagal tone. It's called vagal tone. It's your capacity for your nervous system to adapt to change, right? And so it's not a steady thing. It's a pliability, it's a flexibility, it's an adaptability of your nervous system to challenges that you're facing in your everyday life. Now, I've been using this technology for probably 25 years now, and I've developed my own heart coherent practice, which we call heart centering breathwork. And I'm going to do that in a moment, right? So, the difference of being in dysregulation in a state like frustration here in the red compared to being in a positive heart state of, say, appreciation is radical, right? It's a radical shift and anybody can make this shift. It's not like the subtle art of meditating. Think you have to be a Swami guru or a master Buddhist practitioner. In fact, there's actually a step-by-step scientific practice that you can do to activate heart coherence, which is when you're going to be in your peak state of love to hold space for other people. So the process that I've developed over the years has basically 5 steps. And the first one is to be present, to come into the here and now, right? So many of us living in the past, living in the future, not really here in this present moment. What we find is with this biofeedback device that as soon as we become present in the moment and in our body, our state of heart coherence increases. That's the first thing to do, right? So, and I'm going to guide you through this in a second. The second thing, once you get here, remember, here is all there is because the past is gone, the future hasn't happened. So we start to arrive into the present moment. The second thing is to tune into our body and the emotion that's present, right? So we come in the present moment and then we become embodied. We tune into the experience. Now, our body is something that's always in the present moment. So, our body is the link to this earth life, to this edge of creation that's expressing itself. Our body is the valve that's plugged into the matrix of life, right? So, our body is the litmus paper for truth also. So, when you come into the body to anchor, to ground, to become present, and the more present we are, the stronger the field of love that we create is. And in the body, when we tune into the body, we notice there's a whole lot of emotion there. So we could be happy or sad, excited or anxious, enthusiastic or angry. Maybe we're feeling calm, peaceful, relaxed, something like that, right? So within the body, there's emotion, and emotion basically is the energy that's flowing in the body, creating that electromagnetic field that I mentioned before. So the second step to activate peak heart coherence is actually to be present in your body and feeling the flow of emotion. One of the really interesting things about heart coherence is it's not like traditional meditation where you start to become kind of foggy and vague and just like you woke up out of a sleep. It's actually quite a present moment experience. So people come out of doing heart centering and they're actually quite engaged, quite awake, quite present, right? And also, it doesn't matter which emotion you're feeling, you can still activate heart coherence by practicing the next step, which is accepting whatever you're feeling and allowing it to be here, right? So if you're nervous and you practice breathing into that nervousness and allowing it to be there, then it will actually induce heart coherence. If you're angry, you can have heart coherent anger or sad. So it doesn't have to be a positive emotion. It could be any emotion. What's important is that we are accepting the emotion and the experience, in fact, which could be physical pain in our body, and allowing it to be just the way that it is, right? So we don't try and change anything at all. When we're doing heart centering, we're not trying to relax. We're not trying to calm everything down. The goal is not to feel better. The goal is to get better at feeling, right? So the goal when you're doing heart centering is to become more present, to be more connected, to be in the here and now, to become more intimate with the experience that's rising in the present moment. So the goal is not to feel better. The goal is to be more present. When we are present, we are at our best. Everything is turned on. Our intuition, our resilience, our resourcefulness, our capacity to focus, to think clearly, everything works at its best when we're in the present moment. Right? So once you accept and allow the experience, then you bring your attention to the breath. And the ideal breath for heart coherence is a 4-4 or 5-5 breathing pattern. That means 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, or 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, depending upon your lung size, basically, but also how long you've been doing it for. The more you practice heart centering, the more naturally your breath will slow down. And so you might start off 4-4 and then find 5-5 is easy. Generally speaking, the slower the breath, the better without holding back on the breath. There are slow breathing practices that we have, but they're not to induce heart coherence. They're for other effects, right? And then the fifth step is to tune into your heart and cultivate a positive heart state, what we call heart qualities. We have a framework for 12 heart qualities, things like peace, love, gratitude, happiness, generosity, things like that, courage, heart states, and we cultivate those, and those heart states are embedded into our heart centered living community as well. Okay, so thank you for being present. I've downloaded a fair amount. This is being recorded. You can listen to it later. You don't have to remember all of this. Okay, you can come back and refresh whenever you like. So right now, my question to you is, would you like to experience a heart centering with the invitation to just forget about everything that I've told you today? So yes, yes, great. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Awesome. Fantastic. I think that's just about everybody. Wonderful. Okay, so let's eat from the pie or drink from the cup, as the case may be. So, I'd like to invite you to let your eyes close gently and bring your attention into the present moment. Be aware of the stillness and the silence that's in the background. Let go of trying to get anywhere or make anything happen, and instead give yourself permission to be here in this moment just the way you are. Take a nice deep breath in, breathing out, and letting go of trying to get anywhere or make anything happen. Instant relief. Just give yourself permission to be here in this moment just the way you are. Feeling that breath in, breathing into your body, and letting go. Drawing the breath in, belly, chest, expanding, and letting go. Take a moment to tune into your body. Notice the sensations that you can feel. Taking that conscious breath in, imagine you could breathe in down to your belly, up through your chest, all the way to a place at the top of your head, breathing in and up to that single point at the top of your head. As you breathe in, bring your awareness all the way up to the top of your head. And then as you breathe out, imagine a wave of relaxation sweeping out across your scalp. Relax. Moving your attention down to your forehead. Be aware of any tension you're holding in your forehead. Just breathing into that. And then breathing out and letting go. Moving your awareness down to your eyes. Feel all the tiny muscles around your eyes, your eyelids. Breathing in and letting go. Moving down to your jaw. Acknowledge any tightness you're holding in your jaw and allow it to relax. Breathing in and letting go. Allow the skin on your face to become soft. Moving down to your neck and throat. Breathing in, acknowledging any sensations you can feel in your neck or throat. Breathing out and letting go. Focusing on your shoulders now. Take a conscious breath in, feel your shoulders rising slightly, and then breathing out and feel them sinking down. Moving down to your chest, breathing into your chest and upper back, acknowledging any sensations you can feel and letting go. Continue to move down to your solar plexus and middle back, in the middle of your torso, breathing in, feeling the sensations you can feel there and letting go. Breathing in, down to your belly, lower back, pelvis, and relax, let go. Imagine you could breathe all the way down your legs now, thighs, shins, calves, all the way down to your ankles, feet, and toes. Be aware of the energy in your legs that might feel heavy, restless, calm. Breathing in, just allowing whatever you feel there to be present. Taking another conscious breath in, becoming aware of your arms by your side. Feel the weight of your arms. Breathing in as if you could breathe all the way down your arms to your hands and fingers. So wiggle your fingers a little bit, breathing in and letting go. We hold on to things in life with our hands, just letting go now. Breathing into the whole of your body now, feeling the general sensation throughout your body. As you breathe into your body, you'll notice a particular part of your body is drawing your attention. Just let your attention go to wherever it's drawn. Focus in that area for a moment, breathing gently as if you could breathe into that place. Attention is energy. That part of your body is calling for attention, for consciousness, for healing, for co-regulation, for you holding space for your body. Breathing in, letting go. That's the way. Acknowledge any emotion that's present. You might feel calm, relaxed. Maybe there's some sadness. You might be aware of feeling anxious or frustrated now. Breathing into your body, take a moment to acknowledge the emotion that's present and give yourself permission to feel it. Accept whatever you're feeling, physically and emotionally, and allow it to be present. Drawing the breath gently in and letting go. Focusing your attention now on your breath. Going to do some 4-4 breathing. Breathing nice and gently down to your belly, up to your chest, and letting go. Drawing the breath in, belly, chest, expanding, and then letting go. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 3, 2, 1. 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 Just breathing in your own rhythm now, counting the breathing cycles. You might breathe a little bit faster than that, or the same, or slower. It's all okay. Just focus on your breath. Counting the breath helps us to stay present to the breath. That's the way. Breathing down to your belly, filling up to your chest area now, your heart center. Just in the middle of the chest is fine. Tuning into your heart center, we're going to cultivate some gratitude. Gratitude is heart opening, it's enlivening, it's a master creator of goodness in our life. So take a moment to call to mind some of the good things in your life right now. Could be as immediate and direct as just being alive in this moment, having a house that you live in, people who love you and care for you, good health, wealth, safety, freedom, breathing into your belly and up to your chest, cultivating gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Breathing into your belly, just taking this time to call to mind all the good things in your life, things you've achieved, people that have supported you on the journey, opportunities. That's the way, letting go. People have helped you on the journey, helped you heal and grow. Breathing into your belly and up to your heart, focusing on the gratitude you feel in your heart. See if you can notice what it actually feels like. So you're not just thinking about the goodness in your life, you're actually feeling it. A lot of people experience gratitude as a sense of expansion on the end of the inhalation. See if that's true for you. Maybe it's something else, and if it is, that's totally okay. That's the way, just enjoying being here in this moment, cultivating gratitude, understanding that gratitude is a master creator of goodness in our life because what we focus on, we add energy to. Attention is energy. When you're focusing on all the goodness in your life, you're actually planting seeds for more goodness to happen. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. That's the way. Breathing in, belly, chest, letting go. Most people would like to stay here forever, but we're going to round this off now. So, taking another conscious breath in, gently begin to bring yourself back fully into the present moment, breathing in through your body, down, being aware of what you're sitting on, and then letting go. And another nice deep breath all the way down to your hands and feet. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently bring yourself back. And when you're ready, let your eyes open gently. And when your eyes are open, have a nice stretch. And then let me know. How did you find that? How are you feeling right now? In the chat, let me know how you're feeling. Calm and relaxed. Awesome. Very peaceful, relaxed, and grateful. Lovely. Peaceful, fantastic, awesome, relaxed, wonderful, great. If you're still typing, keep going. I'll keep an eye on the chat. So I just want to walk through our heart-centered breathwork coach training so that you get an idea of how it all hangs together. If you've already enrolled, this could be helpful. Just get some clarity about where you are in the process. And if you're thinking of doing the training, this will give you a good, simple overview of what's involved in that. Hard to come out. Yeah. Yeah. So really, the Call Clearing Breathwork Coach certification is everything that you need to become a successful breathwork practitioner. And this is for you if you'd like to work deeply and holistically with clients gently facilitate profound emotional healing and find meaning in service to others with breathwork. And at the same time, create a flexible, rewarding income stream where you get to work your own hours online from anywhere in the world with anyone, anywhere in the world, and ultimately create your own set of raving fans and a heart center community around you. So there's three levels of breath work in this training. And the first level is simple, everyday breathing practices that you people can build into their life to really live life fully, like we were talking before with the self-regulation. The second level of depth of breathwork that we teach in the training is the heart centering that we just practice. So this is a deeper dive into emotional regulation and healing. Many people experience profound healing going through that heart centering practice. This is Maddie Griffith in Albury, who's taking a whole group of highly stressed real estate agents through the heart centering. So he's running group heart centering breathwork sessions now. And then the third level of breathwork in the training is the core clearing breathwork, which is healing and empowerment, facilitating the healing of emotional trauma quickly and deeply. So this is really the deep dive level. It's all done with a gentle, relaxed, flowing breath. You can facilitate sessions one-on-one or in groups, and you can do them in person or online, depending upon your heart's desire. So in module one, the focus is self and co-regulation that we're talking about in this training. And the three pillars in that are the Keys to Emotional Mastery book, which is like a 100-page easy read book that I wrote some time ago now. The second pillar is the head to heart audio. That's a 1 hour audio recording that talks about the 4 steps to connect from the head to the heart, mind, body, emotion, and heart. And then there's a 5, 10, and 20-minute heart centering practice that we invite people to do every day as soon as they register to start to build up the quality of presence in our heart. Most of us have been very cerebral all our life, thinking, 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 and we have our sense of self in our head. Whereas when we practice heart centering, we actually can shift that center of beingness into our heart, which we all know is the center of love. And then we can live from that place of deep soul level connection. And so we have people doing all different kinds of work. This is Marlon Walker in Paran. He's an ex-remedial masseur, personal trainer turned breathwork practitioner. He really specializes in helping people with anxiety and healing physical pain. And so Marlon has really focused on that area. He used to be a motocross champion, broke a lot of bones in his junior years. And so he knows all about pain and has compassion for that. So he's doing beautiful work, helping people to heal physical pain out of their body with our heart-centered breathwork approach. And I just love this testimonial of Charlotte here. Oh my goodness, Marlon's a wizard. I went in with sore, tight shoulders and walked out much freer. And he didn't even go near my shoulders. A completely different experience. Was able to breathe through the releases with thanks to his guided breathing techniques. Highly recommend for a next level experience. Marlon has about 55-star Google reviews on his breath work, and so he leverages those to be able to charge $2,000 for a 6-session program that people sign up with. Now, included in the training are actually 9 1-minute breathing practices, and you'll learn these. There's recordings of me guiding you through these. The PowerPoint slides are all in the training that you get with the training. You can rebrand them, change the colors, and change the names to your heart's desire. But these allow you to get up and running super fast. We have a 6-session program, a 9-session, and we're building out a 20-session program, and that will be part of the training pretty soon. But at the moment, there's plenty of different breathing techniques that cover the diverse range of breath work that's on the planet. Everything from minimal breathing, pep-up breathing, connected breathing for emotional healing, physiological sniff, double sniff, Breath awareness is the Buddhist kind of practice, mindfulness breathing. You get the whole cross-sectional range of breathing practices. And this is the kind of thing that Melanie came in on. She learned to self-regulate before she started processing intense emotions. And so a lot of our graduates now record these meditations and then give them to their clients to practice during the weeks when they're guiding them through the longer courses. So this is what I'm working on at the moment, building this whole cross-sectional range of different breathing practices that range from parasympathetic breathing practices of 1 to 6 breaths per minute for well-being, raising carbon dioxide tolerance and nitric oxide for health and well-being, through to slightly faster breathing practices, which is still very slow, like a that would be like a 6-6, a very slow breath for calming and relaxing, for activating that polyvagal reset. And then in the mid zone area is the heart centering breath work for heart coherence, which is the 4-4 and the 5-5 breath, which works out 7 to 10 breaths per minute for balanced, optimal functioning. This is the one that we want to use in our everyday life. And then if we speed the breath up a little bit more and we go more 3-3 kind of breathing practice, then we start activating emotional healing. We use the connected breathing mostly for that. And then if you keep speeding the breath up, then you start activating intense energy for peak aliveness. And this is the kind of Wim Hof breathing, the holotropic breath work. We have a couple of simple breathing practices that we include in the training, mostly the wow breath, but I'm on a project to build these out. So there's like 4 different breathing patterns for each of these 5 styles of breath work. So they'll be coming to an inbox near you soon. So something really exciting to look forward to. Also in module 1 is the heart visioning workshop. So this is all about a 1 day workshop. If you just listened to and followed your heart, what would that look like? Thanks, Joanne. I am somebody who thrives on appreciation. So more appreciation, the quicker we'll arrive. So I appreciate that. So we just ran this last week, the heart visioning for 2026. And we're packaging that up, and you get a whole set of the recordings of the 4 meditations: the heart centering, a heart visioning, the heart manifesting, and the heart clearing in that package that's included in this training. And then something that I'm really super proud of is a 17 session series on heart-centered coaching. So this is all about how to facilitate deep emotional healing to resolve issues that people have. The first 6 sessions are how to be at your best as a practitioner, understanding empathy as a superpower, finding confidence, self and co-regulation, avoiding burnout, trauma-informed care, and making money with breath work. And then the next 11 sessions, now we had 9, are how to facilitate breath work healing, emotional healing with specific issues that your clients might come to you with. Each of these sessions is a 1 hour teaching of me talking to you as a practitioner from a practitioner's point of view of when I have a client who comes to me with one of these issues, what do I actually do? What's causing it? What's the emotional underlie that's giving rise to this challenge that people are facing. So our work is countercultural because we believe the emotions come first and the thoughts come second. And so when people have issues, we're always helping them to go deeper and identify and clear the subconscious emotional trauma that they're carrying that's causing those issues on the surface. So how to calm a busy negative mind, mastering anxiety and fear, mastering anger, releasing physical pain, healing emotional trauma, sleeping deeper, healing grief, finding self-love, peak performance, professional edge, corporate breathwork sessions, empowering youth to thrive. Those are the 11 sessions that you can go to whenever you have a client coming to you with one of these issues. You can just listen to that recording and be really, really switched on and have a great understanding of how a heart-centered approach really works. Also in the training is the group breathwork facilitation package. There's a 32-page guidebook that I've put together and a whole 3 hour workshop, minute by minute, that's broken down that gives you a step-by-step guide on how to facilitate group breathwork sessions. There's also two 90-minute sessions now added to this. There's a webinar session that you can run and a 90-minute evening or morning or half-day presentation that you can give as well for emotional healing. Again, this is Matty Griffith. He's pairing up with a lot of people who do energy healing like sound, crystal bowl healing here, Pilates teachers, Reiki teachers, and he's bringing the breathwork into those groups and getting up and going super fast because the other people already have a community and he's just helping them to take the people in their community deeper with breathwork. So Elisa in Brisbane, just here in the front, she ran a healing workshop, the 3-hour workshop. She sent me a message afterwards. She said I was actually genuinely shocked at the deep insights and awareness that happened. Right. So this is all packaged up. This is the first time she ever presented it. She had 14 people there in a yoga studio. The lady who owns the studio got the 14 people together and they had a brilliant day together. So the three levels that I mentioned, the meditations, the heart centering, and then the core clearing. So that's all in module one. And module two is a 10-week program. So when you sign up for the program, and a few people in this session I know are journeying through module two now for 10 weeks, each week a different module is released, looking at all of the major areas of your life. There's a teaching from me about how to master that area from a heart intelligent perspective, and then I guide you through a core clearing session to identify and clear any blocks that you've got in that area, in prosperity, in health, finding your purpose, in your relationships, spirituality, finding self-love, finding happiness. This is like all packaged up there. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thanks, Dan. I've completed module one and two as we speak. Can't wait to be able to help others accept and work through their own stuff. Extremely grateful and excited for the future. Yeah, this is a life-changing program. 10 weeks, one module a week, and you really like take your whole life to another level. And then once you've gone through the program, you get the same 10-week program all packaged up for you, ready to deliver to your clients, right? And that's called Tune Up Your Life. And I've put together a handbook on that, what to do in every session of the 10 sessions, the content, the email sequence, the marketing. It's all done, it's all built, ready to plug and play and launch. It's called Tune Up Your Life program. There's some of the banners that come with that, all the marketing and sales pieces are done. So I'm not sure why this is here. And then the third module is the skills training. So the skills training is Saturday and Sunday online, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have a break every hour. You have to go outside and walk around your house so that you stay embodied and grounded. This is a life transforming experience. Many people have major breakthroughs, like incredible breakthroughs on this weekend, even though it's a training. It's not really a workshop, it's a training, but the shifts in understanding and insights that people get in this are actually profound. And the whole group holds this energy of co-regulation for everybody in the group that's quite extraordinary. So everything that's in the training includes the master coaching for myself once a month. I'm online. We do an open house session where you can come along and ask me any questions that you like. And then we have master coaches as well. On the third Tuesday of the month, we have an open mic. So anyone in the community can come on and present anything that they like. The three levels of breathwork. There's 10 scripts, different scripts that you can use with your clients. There's this high value program to deliver, the Tune Up Your Life Wellbeing program that you get to deliver to your clients, group breathwork sessions, the marketing and sales systems all built, enrollment scripts, Facebook ads, swap sessions to build confidence in the training. So there's 4 follow-on sessions after the weekend training, where on the following 4 Wednesday nights we get together. You go in a little breakout room by yourself and you swap a session. You take someone through and they take you through a call clearing session. There's a whole script that you get. So it's very, very step by step, easy to do and amazing fun. And you'll get 4 sessions out of that for yourself. You get to take someone through 4 sessions and you get a lot of confidence being able to do it. Everybody can do it. It's really, really awesome. There's manuals, handbooks, everything is recorded and ongoingly available through the membership site. You get international recognition and you can get professional indemnity through the IICT, which is the International Institute for Complementary Therapies. So thanks, Michelle. Yeah, this is just loaded with goodies. You're just going to keep on chewing and this is really a launch pad for your whole life. This is not just a breathwork training. This is a whole nother way of living from your heart. It's a spiritual growth that's grounded in the present moment, in your body. It's about showing up and connecting, not disassociating, but actually connecting to the love in your heart and then living and growing your heart in gratitude and kindness and appreciation and courage and generosity. So it's a life path that will continue on, hopefully for the rest of your life. And obviously, you become part of our global heart center community. So that's a beautiful, beautiful, nurturing place for you. So the format for the training is that it's in 3 modules. Module 1 is based around self and co-regulation with the Heart Center Coaching Series, the Life by Design workshop, and call clearing sessions. You get to access that as soon as you register. Module 2 in the training is the 10-week You Can Change Your Life program. That once you've gone through that, you take other people through it. And Module 3 is the 2 days breathwork skills training. That's coming up super soon, the 14th and 15th of February. That's Saturday and Sunday, plus the following 4 Wednesday nights. And then you'll be facilitating sessions. Sometimes people will be doing them on Sunday, the 15th. When they finish the day, they'll take their partner, their children, their friends through a call clearing session. So it's all laid out super simple and super easy for you to be really confident that you can facilitate really beautiful healing sessions and have confidence that your client's going to get immense value out of it and come out feeling really, really integrated and complete and happy. If you add up everything that's in the training, it comes to over $10,000 worth of value for the moment. For a limited time, there's an Action Takers 70% discount of $29.50, and you can pay that in 6 monthly installments of $458 per month, or if you pay up front, there's a discount of $2,700. So you should have by now an email in your inbox that went out. If you're interested in jumping in, that would be great. And understand that this is actually a professional development training. This is the start of a new career. It's not a sideline thing. We have people all around the world who are making a living from breath work, having done this training. And you can pay for the whole training with just 3 clients. Take 3 clients through the Tune Up Your Life 10-week program at $900 each, and you've paid for the whole training. So super good value. And then you get it for life, a new career that you can use. A lot of people add it into existing healing that they do, counselors, coaches, health professionals, Reiki, energy healers, masseurs, bring this in as another way of helping to work deeply and holistically with their clients. We have people all around the world, all around Australia. This is Katie Scope, who lives in the middle of outback Western Australia in a little mining town in the desert. She, by the time she did her assessment, she had taken 3 people through the 10-week program. She'd already paid for the training. And the feedback that she got from her first client, like no words will ever tell you how much this means to me. That's what this is all about. facilitating deep healing and transformation for people. Katie set up some kindergarten sessions in a mining town because she has toddlers herself. And then she set up a women's circle as well, which was a great way to start to build the community. And it's just blossomed from there. Kim Marie's down in Apollo Bay. She was on welfare benefits, health benefits when she came into the training. And by the time she finished the training, she also had enrolled three clients at 900 and paid for the whole thing. She had done no other healing. She was a graphic designer and she just picked up what she got in the training, plugged it in, and made the difference in the world that she was here to make. So as soon as you register, you get instant access to the membership site. It looks like this, modules 1, 2, and 3 after 14th and 15th of February, and the bonus module here. And each module is clearly laid out, easy to navigate through, and you can come back and access that whenever you like. I'm eternally grateful for everybody who's here and hung in to the end of our session tonight. So if you sign up in the next 24 hours, tonight that is, we have a super special bonus. We have a Tune Up Your Life program of 7 10-minute breathing practices. The others are 1 minute breathing practices. So we call this Tune Up Your Life. The other ones are Tune Up Your Day practices. And so those are the topics for the 7 practices. Anyone who's here tonight, if you'd like a copy of that, just send me an email tomorrow at hello@breathwork.com, which is our main email. And I say, thanks for a great night, Nicholas. Give me a rave review from the session, and I'll send you the link to access these 7 breathing practices. Thank you, Susan. You can have it as well. And ultimately, if I haven't met you yet, or if you're sitting on the fence about whether to do the training or not, I would love to have a chat to you, a private one-on-one clarity session to help you to get clear about where you are, what you want, how to get there, whether this is the right thing for you. And that's a complimentary session. People are raving about those sessions, including Michelle, who's here, gave me a beautiful raving feedback. They are beautiful connection sessions and really inspiring and helpful for you to get the confidence to make the difference that you're here to make in the world. So, um, my turn to receive a little bit now. I hope you feel like you've got a lot from this session. I would love to have 1 minute for you just to write 2 sentences, what you've really appreciated about this training, what you've loved from this session, and what your big takeaway is. So I'll be quiet now, have a drink in the chat. Absolutely pleasure, Michelle. I am so looking forward to journeying with everybody. I feel this, I have the best job, I reckon, but you can get the same job as I do, helping people heal and grow. Beautiful people, bringing the best out of them and connecting in our heart center circles is just the best. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to journeying with everybody as well in our next training and thereafter. So while you're tapping away on the keyboard, a couple of common questions that we get. I'm not sure I've healed all my stuff yet. Is one of the big ones that stops people. And I can promise you that if I was waiting to heal all my stuff before I started, I still would not have started, right? So it's not necessary to get it all together before you can help others because we're not giving advice. We're not sages, wise people, Buddhas, or anything like that. We're breathwork practitioners and we have the breath. We are guiders of the breath, and the breath does all the work. And so, it's actually quite healthy to acknowledge that we don't have it all together because our work is not about getting it all together. It's about finding a way of loving ourselves as we are right now. Right? So our work is not about getting it all together. It's not about healing all of your stuff. It's about finding a way of loving yourself where you are right now. And the irony in that is that when you love yourself just the way you are, the best in you shows up. Right? So don't let that hold yourself back from giving your gift to the world. I don't know if I've got the time. This course is so plug and play simple, very little time consuming. There's the 10-week program is the bulk of it. That's 1.5 hours a week, right? To go through that session. And then there's integration pieces. You start practicing the heart centering 5, 10, 20 minutes a day. Put that in there, and that's going to pay dividends in your day. And then there's the 2 days training and the 4 follow-ons. It's really a walk in the park. There's not a lot involved in this training because I've mapped it out so super clearly. It's easy to pick up. Third thing, I don't have the money. And my response is if you commit, you'll find a way. All right. You can start with $200 deposit, get access to module one if that's your biggest challenge, or have a conversation with me about that and we can see what we can work out. Um, what if I miss a session is another common question that I get. And just a reminder, everything's recorded. It's all logged in on the membership site. So if you can't make a session, and that does happen, then you can pick it up on the recording, which is totally understandable. So thank you for joining us. Just a reminder, if you haven't had a clarity session with me, please do book one. I'd love to meet you, love to have a chat, love to see where you're at and see if I can help you to help others to heal and grow, to be of service, to making the world a more beautiful, heart-connected place. So the link for the clarity session is in the chat. Thank you to O'Brien for turning up out of hours. Thank you to your family for also giving you a leave pass for this session and for being here. And thank you to Susan, also my loyal buddy in this, for all your love and support. And thank you to everybody who's here for your lovely comments in the chat and positive energy. I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit of my life with you. So yeah, thank you everybody for your appreciation now, and let's go forward and awaken a heart-connected humanity. I'm going to stop the recording here and then I'll open the line for anybody who wants to share anything.